Hello friends, and welcome back to my channel. Today I am going to be sharing with you all of the jungle cacti I have within my collection. Jungle cacti have been kind of a new obsession for me in the last year and a bit, and I have amassed quite a few over that time, and I wanted to share with you all the different types and all the ones I have and the bits I love about them. So before we get into it, I just want to say, if you're new here and you don't know me already, hi, my name is Emma and I make houseplanty content all over the internet. So if you want to follow along with my houseplanty journey and maybe learn something along the way, stick around, watch some more of my videos, and subscribe to my channel. If you're not new here, thanks for coming back. I really appreciate it. Let's get into it. The first jungle cacti I got was this one. This is a Repsalis Red Coral. I don't know its botanical name off the top of my head, but I'll put them all on the screen. But I got this one as a secret Santa, secret Planta gift, Christmas 2021. So a while back now. And I was so nervous that I was going to kill this. This was well before I was into cacti and succulents. I had no idea what the heck I was doing. So it was already rooted, so I put it in some soil and I just left it. And I mean, it's still here today and it has grown so freaking much. If I can find a picture of what it looked like right when I got it, I will put it in here. But I have just been really enjoying how it has been growing. It grows so different from any other sort of type of plant. Like aroids grow way different to this. And I am really enjoying it. Also, they're called Ripalis Red Coral because if you give them enough sunlight, if I put them in a sunny window, which sometimes we could potentially do here in the UK, but maybe not, it gets so red. I'll put in some pictures of that as well because it is really cool how bright red they can get when they are sun stressed, and that is absolutely okay to sun stress them. And if you unsun stress them, their color probably will fade again to a green, and it's absolutely fine. I personally don't have this one in a spot that's bright enough to even think about sun stressing it. And it's still growing absolutely fine. It probably could grow faster in a slightly brighter spot, but I don't mind. I've just been liking watching the way it is growing. It kind of reminds me of seaweed or kelp or something. Definitely something that feels underwatery. But yeah, it was my first one. It definitely didn't bring the obsession, but it was a good start to it. I didn't realize that this was a jungle cactus when I got it. I thought it was just like any other succulent, and boy was I wrong. The one that actually got me in to jungle cacti is this one, the Fishbone Cactus, aka Epiphyllum Anguliger. I don't know if that's how you pronounce it, but that's what it is. This one was given to me as a couple tiny cuttings by Claire the Jungle Haven, who is also quite obsessed with jungle cacti. She is the one who introduced me to the love of jungle cacti by giving me this one and saying, Emma, you can take care of this, put it in some soil, it'll grow roots, you'll love it, it'll be absolutely fine. And she was right. It is grown so much in the time I've had it. I think I've had it for about a year now. And given it was quite small before, and I probably could give it a bit more and it might do a bit more. Is that a thrip? No, that's not a thrip. Oh my goodness, that scared me. I know this one has had thrips previously, which is kind of weird. I wouldn't think that a jungle cactus like this could get thrips, but it did, which was really annoying. So I have been treating it, unfortunately, but I think it's fine now and there's no more thrips. But it's just such a fun and funky one. Again, it grows so differently. Mine definitely is not the biggest plant, and it's not got tons and tons of these very angular, zigzaggy bits. It's got more that are like this, which is kind of odd, and definitely something that I'm not used to. But I still have been really enjoying watching it grow and expand and turn into something a lot bigger, because it has because it has. But this one was kind of where my love for it went. I put this one in some soil in my Mistletoe cabinet and it just popped off. It was just going. And it was so weird for me because I don't think I quite realized that epiphytic cacti / jungle cacti were okay with humidity. I generally have quite a humid home because I have a lot of plants. I live in the UK. It's not a very new build, like it just tends to be quite humid and moist here. And so having cacti in general was scary for me because I couldn't provide them with that dry atmosphere that I thought they needed. But unlike desert cacti, jungle cacti like humidity. They grow naturally in rainforests and stuff like that. And they grow on trees, similar to how like anthuriums or Hoyas and stuff, because those are both semi-epiphytic. These are fully, I believe, epiphytic, and they can suck in humidity from the outside, which is awesome. But this is the one that kind of like got me into them a bit more fully and helped me like start to expand my collection. I think I'm going to talk about the Lapistium Bolivianum next. Even though this specific one is a bit more of a recent addition to my collection, I did have a Lapistium Bolivianum that I got again from Claire because she had like a huge massive one, and so she gave me some cuttings of that and I loved that one so much as well. It was doing really well for me again in my Mistletoe cabinet, and it even ended up flowering, which is super cool. Like all of these sort of jungle cacti flower. That one ended up flowering, but very soon after that it was like kaput. It died. I'm not sure what I did wrong with it. I've obviously not figured it out because it died. But I haven't killed this one yet, and this one is fairly new. I got this one to replace that one because I really did like this sort of head of hair style of plant. And this one has grown so freaking well for me. Like all of those little like green bits on the bottoms and tips, that's all new growth from like less than a month ago, which is amazing given I do have this one in quite a bright spot. It's hanging in a southwest facing window, so it's probably the brightest it can possibly get, but it's actually giving me quite a lot, and I think I'll be able to grow this a lot fuller quite quickly, which will be awesome. But yeah, the Lapistium Bolivianum is a really cool one and quite a fast growing, easy one as well. So I definitely recommend all of these to anybody really. I think I'm going to talk about the Mistletoe Cactus next. So this one I got in December this past year in my Christmas plant haul video, because it's obviously called the Mistletoe Cactus. I believe it's called that because it grows flowers similar to that of the mistletoe plant, and so it looks like it's got those little white flowers on it, which is cool. But I have struggled with this one just a little bit. I think because it is quite small and fine, it hasn't been the easiest one to stay hydrated, and I did have to kind of give this one, not emergency surgery, but I had to repot it and take a bunch of bits that were dead out. And since I have done that, it has been doing a lot better, because before it was literally dropping little bits like this off every single day. I would wake up in the morning and there'd be tons and tons on my windowsill. This one again is living in the southwest facing window, and it was just dropping so much, and it was really annoying to clean up if nothing else. But it was also annoying that my plant was potentially dying. So I have switched it out into some better soil. It's now in anthurium and orchid soil from Soil Ninja, which it's going to be great for semi-epiphytic plants and epiphytic plants like anthuriums and orchids are, as well as jungle cacti. It gives them more similar environment to their like natural habitat than probably average houseplant soil or even cacti and succulent soil, because I wouldn't suggest using cacti and succulent soil with any of these because they actually like to retain a little bit more water than a cacti or succulent would. But since I have repotted it, it has done quite well. I feel like all of these bits that kind of grow off exponentially in little pom-poms have come out for me since then, and I'm really, really glad that they have. So I've got this Mistletoe Cactus, and I've also got another one, which I think they're related, but I'm not exactly sure why, how. Like, they both have a similar form, but I feel like, I don't know if this is just a mature version of the other one, but like, holy freaking cow, this is a heavy pot as well. Like, it is weighty. This one is a Repsalis Paradoxica, which I don't know if the other one is also the same type or if it's a different type of Repsalis Paradoxica. I think I'm saying that right. Either way, this one is a whole lot thicker in its stems, and even in the new growth down here, it doesn't go off exponentially and as small as the other one did, but it is, again, really, really cool. This one and the other Mistletoe Cactus really reminds me of Samphire, another like seaweedy sort of thing. It's very weird and like thick and tubular, and I am really enjoying the fact that I have them, and I think this one's doing really, really well too. I haven't had as many issues with this one that I did with the other one about it dropping as many bits. It still drops a couple, but not nearly as many, and like it's more every now and then rather than every single day like the other one was. And I have not changed this one's soil. In fact, I am terrified to do so because it is an absolute beast, and I feel like I probably would lose quite a lot in that process. But I mean, I can just leave it like this for now because it seems perfectly happy and it is still growing quite well. So yeah, that is my other Mistletoe Cactus. I pretty much never refer to them as Repsalises, even though I know they are. It's just not how I think of them. To me, they're always just gonna be Mistletoe Cacti. Another one that I got around Christmas time this past year is this. This is a Schlumbergia truncata, which is commonly called a Christmas cactus. This specific one is not a Christmas cactus. There's actually three types. There's a Christmas, a Thanksgiving, and an Easter cactus, and they all bloom at different times of year, typically corresponding to the holiday that they're named after. But this one is technically a Thanksgiving cactus. You can tell that because it has very pointy little bits. The Christmas cactus and the Easter cactus aren't quite as pointy. They're more round and blobby, if that makes sense. You'll typically find them being missold. Thanksgiving cactus are commonly missold as Christmas cactus. The cool thing with them is that you can get them in a bunch of different flowering colors, and it doesn't necessarily correlate to what season cactus they are. I'm pretty sure this is a pink flowering one. Yes, it was. It flowered pink for me over the winter time. But you can get white flowering ones, red flowering ones, potentially orange flowering ones. I'm not quite sure on that one. But there's a bunch of different types, so if you're buying it when it's not in bloom, it might be worth asking what color the blooms are, if the shop knows, in case you have a preference. I would love, personally, to get a white blooming one because I think I prefer that sort of flower to a pink flower, but the pink flowers are still really cool. The weird thing with these is that they absolutely need darkness and coldness to bloom. If they're not getting the reduced temperatures and reduced lights come autumn and winter, or like November period for those of us in the northern hemisphere, they will not bloom because they need that. That activates the blooms and tells them it's time. So if you're trying to get your Thanksgiving cactus or Christmas cactus to bloom and you're trying to give it all this light and stuff like that, that's not the way to get these to bloom. It's actually kind of the opposite. So they need lots of periods of darkness and a bit cooler temperatures to make that happen, which I find really fascinating. And also these ones are really easy to propagate through segments. You can basically take a single segment of these off and you can put it in water. I mean, don't like dunk it in water, but you can have it tipped in water, you can put it in moss, you can put it straight back into the soil, and it'll probably grow some roots and grow even further. And again, this one kind of exponentially grows. You can see 1 goes to 2, and then this one goes to 2, and then this one, I think Cleo had a bit of a chomp on, so it probably won't grow to 2, but it had the capacity to. So these can grow really, really big, and these are kind of like a heritage plant as well, like an heirloom plant, that's what I mean. An heirloom plant, people pass them down from generation to generation, and I'd almost say it's easier to get your hands on one of these through propagation, because you can probably get it for free, because people will probably just like cut you off a piece and give them to you, rather than having to buy one. So I definitely recommend that as a possibility. If you know someone who has one, maybe ask for a piece, because they're fun to grow. Next, I think I'm going to talk about this one, which is probably the most odd one out of the sort of jungle epiphytic cacti that I'm showing you. This is a monkey tail cactus, and it looks like it would be spiky like a desert cactus, but these little hairs on it, I mean, as long as you're rubbing downwards, they're actually really, really soft, similar to how I would imagine a monkey tail to feel. They look like a monkey tail, and I mean, obviously that's why it's called that, but for some odd reason, this one is a jungle cactus. I am not quite sure how, but they thrive in the humid, warm environment of a jungle. Actually, funny story with this one, when I got it, a couple pieces broke off. Just like postage damage, fairly normal. I wasn't worried about it. I took those pieces and they were just sitting in a pot, no soil, just like in a cup, basically. And I had them in my bathroom, my windowless, lightless, I mean, it's got a light, but you know what I mean. Dark bathroom, no windows, no soil, not giving it any water. And these pieces, after like, I feel like a month, because I just left them there for a while, which is probably not the best thing for me to do, but it was absolutely fine. They started growing from nothing. So it just kind of shows how much they take in from their environment. I think if it wasn't in a bathroom situation, which is inherently quite humid with having showers and stuff like that, they probably wouldn't have rooted. But because it was getting that humidity from the bathroom, it just started rooting for itself and was absolutely fine. And I ended up potting that up, and I've got a friend that I'm giving that to as a bit of a gift. But it is just such a surreal one. I was not expecting that to happen. I kind of just popped them in the pot and was like, oh, well, these bits are probably gonna die, it's fine. They didn't. They lived, and now they're going to a new home. This one, ow. Okay, don't get the little hairs underneath your nails. Because that kind of hurt. This one is a little bit more difficult to find in the UK. They tend to be a little bit more expensive. They're not hard by any means. I wouldn't call them rare or uncommon. You can find them. They're just, I think they're gaining popularity now, and so their prices tend to be a little bit higher than what I would in theory pay for one. I was very lucky to get this one gifted to me when I did a plant haul with the Plant Point. And so that was really exciting, and I'm very lucky to have had that. But I think I still probably would pay for one like this. Also, funny story about this one, Claire got one when I was at her house like a year and a half back, and I was not a fan. I did not like this thing. But I've just slowly learned to love it over time, and after seeing them more and more, and understanding that they are a jungle cactus, not a desert cactus, which nowadays I would probably like it because it was a desert cactus as well, but a year and a half ago, no, I would not have cared. But over time, it's just become something that I really enjoy and really like the look at. I don't think Joe likes it because I think it reminds me of like a tarantula or something, but I think it's fun and weird and just a bit silly, which is a good time. Up next, I have 3, I think. 2 definitely, 3 I think, that are part of a similar family, but aren't the same. So, I'll show you the two I'm confident with first. These two. This little one here is a Repsalis Paradoxica, no, not Paradoxica, Paradoxa minor. So it's got very, very thin little chain-like stems. They kind of alternate in like as they're going. And then this one is the same thing, but a Paradoxa major. You can see it is very, very chunky in comparison. It is thick. And these two, I feel like they kind of remind me of my two mistletoe cactuses. Maybe one of my mistletoe cactuses is a minor and one is a major. But they're essentially, they grow the same way, just one's a lot chunkier than the other. And these were both given to me at plant swaps. I was able to like swap for them, or I think this one was just a gift from someone, which is very, very sweet. But they're just a really cool sort of thing. Both of them will trail eventually. You can see this one's like trying to trail at the minute, but this one is still a bit thick to do that. Once they grow taller and like therefore heavier, it will trail down, similar to a lot of the other types of cacti I've got here. But I'm not super familiar with these yet. I'm pretty sure that I did just get this one as like cuttings that I've stuck in soil, and I'm pretty sure it has rooted. I've not got a clear pot on it, but like the fact that I can hold it like this means that it is somewhat stuck into the soil there, which is awesome. I am not quite sure if this one is the same or different to the Paradoxa minor. It feels a bit crazier and it doesn't quite have the same about it that the other one does, but it does have these little bits down here which remind me a lot more of it. I think I got this one at a swap as well, and maybe that's why I don't remember its name. So if somebody knows what this is, that would be greatly appreciated, because it is another really cool jungle cactus. And look, it's got a root at the bottom as well. So this one, again, doing quite well considering that I just plopped it in some soil and it wasn't rooted before and now it's rooted. But I am not positive what it is. I really don't know. Might be a Paradoxa, might not. Might be something completely different. I have saved my favorite for last because I am like partial to it. It's one of my favorite plants of all time. This thing right here is a fern leaf cactus, and I actually have two. This one was my first one. It is a wish list plant that I got because somebody had one that like broke off of their plant accidentally, and they very kindly messaged me and asked if I want to do a swap, and so I swapped them for this piece here. This has grown on it since, but the piece didn't have any roots or anything. I was very, very nervous about it because I did really want it to grow well and root and stuff, but it was scary because it was such an important wish list plant to me. But I just stuck it in some soil, and I actually put a chopstick on the back to hold it upright, and in maybe like a month or two, maybe even less, it had grown roots like all the way around here and really stuck itself in, which is awesome. I was really, really proud of that. I've been able to take the chopstick out, and it started putting out this bit of new growth here, which unfortunately snapped the other day when it fell. Joy. But it is such a cool one. I knew I wanted this plant from the moment I saw it. Like, once I saw it online, I knew that I had to have one in my collection. I am just obsessed with these sort of long, fish-taily, mermaid-taily sort of things. I don't even know what you want to call them, like blades, almost. But I am obsessed. I could fill my entire house with these. So when this one started growing very well, I also got myself this one. Well, it was, again, a gift from the Plant Point. We did a little Jungle Cactus haul. I'll link that video down below if you want to watch me opening these up, because it was very exciting. But I got myself a nice big hanging pot of it because these grow so well as hanging plants. Like similar to all of these, I think they all grow quite well as hanging plants. They just descend nicely. But I am just like beyond obsessed with this plant. It makes me so happy. It just like fills me with joy. Something about it is just, I don't know, it just brings me serotonin or something. But you can see all these light colored bits in here. Those are all bits of new growth, bits that have grown since I've had it. This one is not in a hugely highlight spot, but it is like quite close to a mother grow light that's on for 12 hours a day. So it is getting a decent amount of light. It probably could handle more, and I probably could water it more as well. I'm not as on top of watering this one as I could. But the good thing about these sort of plants is you can really tell when they're starting to get thirsty because they go a lot more floppy and kind of wrinkly. Like you can really see it droop, as opposed to being like thick and plump and juicy like it is when it is hydrated like this. But again, they are super duper easy to propagate, and I have been enjoying giving cuttings of these to friends to share the love. These ones also have been quite difficult to find in the UK until more recently. Nowadays you can find them on like House of Kojo and stuff, which I'm pretty sure they're in stock right now if you're interested in getting one. I have a discount code in the description if you fancy that. Obviously no pressure, but it's there if you want it. I highly recommend this plant. It is so fun and weird and interesting, and it's kind of like the big version of the zigzag or fishbone. They're related. This is also an epiphyllum, but this one is a Cristocardium. Rather than an angulager. I don't know these by their Latin names. I know them by their fun names because, I mean, it's a fern leaf cactus, and yeah. Anyways, this is just one of my favorite plants of all time, and I could genuinely fill my house with them, and I think I want to. Like, even if I go to a shop and I see one that's like big and longer than this, I'm like, I need it, I want it. There's been several times when I've actually been tempted to buy more. I haven't. You're welcome, Joe. Because I don't have tons and tons of space for them, but oh, I totally would. I totally would. I love them so much. So yeah, that is it. Those are all of my jungle cacti in my collection. I have really enjoyed experimenting with them and growing this sort of new thing over the past couple of years. It has really been a bit of a new journey for me and exciting, and it's opened a whole new door to a whole new realm of plants for me, which has been really fun. And I highly recommend, if you're into tropical plants, to give these a go because I think you can do it. Get yourself a cutting from somewhere or buy one and give it a try because they are really cool and really interesting to watch grow. And very rewarding as well. I feel like they grow quite quickly, which is great. So yeah. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up down below and leave a comment on other houseplanty things you'd like me to talk about in the future. Also, if you have any more jungle cacti recommendations for me, please give me them down below so I can expand my collection even further. And don't forget to subscribe for more. Thank you so much for watching, and I really appreciate you being here. I hope you have a brilliant day. Don't forget to keep growing. Bye!